Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. It's Tim Shurr. So today's topic is money loves speed. And what does that mean?
Here's the question. What's going on inside the minds of top achievers that cause them to make extraordinary breakthroughs both personally and professionally? My name is Tim Shurr, and I invite you to join me as we take a deep dive into the unconscious mind and discover how to transform your biggest dreams into a reality. Welcome to the How to Be Mesmerizing podcast.
Well, one of the world's most successful internet marketers, Joe Vitale. We used to hang out together at conferences back in the day. And one time, just off the cuff, he said, you know, Tim, he says, money loves speed. And I said, what does that mean? And he says, when you get a great idea, what do you do with it? When some inspirational idea pops into your mind, what happens next? And I said, I don't know. Sometimes I'll write it down, right? And, think about it more. And he says, that's what most people do. And the challenge with that is that, let me give you a story. He says, have you ever had a great idea that popped into mind and then you didn't do anything with it? And about 3 or 4 months later, you're watching TV and an infomercial comes on and it's your idea. And you're like, hey, they ripped me off. That's my idea. No, it's like God gave a whole bunch of people this idea. And the person that's on TV with the infomercial is the one who acted on it fast enough. So when you get an impulse, an idea to do something that you think is going to really improve your progress towards, or your momentum towards achieving a goal, whether it's making more money or growing your business or taking care of your clients better or improving your health or doing something kind for your spouse or your children, you want to act on that as fast as possible, right? Try to put it into action as quickly as possible. So I enrolled in another great coaching program. I'm always signing up for coaching programs because I know that having coaches in your corner is just smart. The most successful people in the world have coaches, and so that's my plan too, right? To be part of that, and that's why my goal is to be your success coach or one of them to help and support you so that you are making your life a sure success. And so anyway, I'm listening to some of the podcast recordings and trainings, and a lot of times what happens is we'll try to consume all the material and all the information before we do anything with it. And again, the challenge with that, let me tell you a story. Okay, so I have had many people that I coached over the years who are trying to grow a coaching practice. And they had more certificates on the wall than anybody I'd ever met, right? They just signed up for one course and then the next and then the next. And I said, well, that's great. So let's go ahead and put this knowledge into action and start getting you some more clients. And they're like, you know what? That's a great idea. I'm going to do that as soon as I wrap up this next course that I just scheduled and registered for. And I'm like, you need to stop going to these classes, right? They had this fear. It always comes down to a limiting belief. They had this fear that they weren't going to know enough, they weren't going to be prepared, and then what would they do? They have this image in their mind that someone's going to ask them a question and they're just going to sit there with a blank look on their face and be humiliated. And of course, that is all nonsense, right? But these people were more educated than anybody I met. And so, again, what you want to do is you want to learn some stuff and then put it into action. And that's what I did. When I was learning tools and strategies, whether it was going through psychology or going through my hypnotherapy training or going through neurolinguistic programming training or whatever else I was taking, I would learn something and then I would go use it, right? I would learn something and then I would go put it to the test, because the fastest way to figure out what you don't know is to jump in and start trying, right? And start using things. And then you get ideas for, okay, how can I make this better? It gives you better questions to ask your instructor. A lot of people try to ask every question they could possibly think of before they get into a situation, and there's nothing wrong with being prepared, but there's something wrong with trying to be a perfectionist, because perfectionists rarely ever achieve anything, right? They're too busy trying to get it perfect, or they're afraid they're going to mess up, and so they never try anything. And so again, limiting beliefs. So I would learn something, I would get feedback, and then I would get answers, correct on the fly, try something else. And so I've got, I have a lot of degrees and certifications and paper on the wall. But when people ask me, how are you educated? And I said, I got a PhD in kicking butt and getting results because I've been in the trenches for a couple of decades, practicing, using these strategies, putting it to the test. What works, what doesn't. The same is true with marketing. The same is true with selling, and sales. Try this, try that. Learn from the best. Get where you want to go faster. Learn from the mistakes from others so you don't have to do that trial and error game, right? Because that's a long, long way to do it. So instead, you just want to learn from the people who have already gone down that road. Avoid the potholes that you haven't seen yet, that others who've gone down this road have seen, And so if I say, hey, be careful of this self-sabotage that's coming, you should really listen to that and pay attention to it and be ready for it and then avoid it, right? That's the advantage of working with people like me, is because I've been down so many roads for so long that I can tell you what's going to happen and how to protect yourself and how to get ahead. And so so I'm going through this program, right? This new coaching program, and there's so many ideas, and I'm starting to feel overwhelmed because there's like so many $1 million nugget ideas. I'm like, oh my goodness. And so what I do is, what I used to do is I just take notes furiously and then keep listening. But then I end up with all these notes and still not putting them into action, just collecting more notes. So I had slipped back into that old pattern that Joe was calling me on way back in the day. And I recognized that and went, whoa. I need to take these nuggets and put it into action immediately, right? Plant the seeds, get them in the ground, let them start growing. They're not going to do anything sitting in my pocket, right? I got to get the seeds out, put them in the ground, and get them growing. Let them take root, create that foundation. And so that's why I'm creating this podcast for you today, just in case you have great ideas or great insights. What are you doing with them? Remember, money loves speed. The faster you can put good ideas into action, the faster you're going to be able to reap the return. And it doesn't have to just be money. Love loves speed too. Right? And happiness loves speed. If you have the idea, I need to take a 5-minute walk and just clear my mind, do it. Don't say, oh, I'll do it this afternoon. No, do it right now. That's why you had the thought, the inspiration, right? Be inspired. And so as you take this action, you'll find yourself feeling more happy, more confident. You'll feel like you're making more progress and everything will get better. So here's my idea for you today. All right. So hopefully you're going to take this idea and put it into action, and you'll discover too that money really does love speed. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.
Hey, would you like more free tips on how to be a mesmerizing leader? Then check out mesmerizingleadership.com, and also hang out with me on Facebook, facebook.com/Tim Shurr. Thanks so much, and make your day a sure success.